We all have the experience that during good or bad, agreeable or disagreeable circumstances in our lives, many intents are created within us spontaneously, especially when we read the newspapers or watch television, or we happen to talk about someone. There is no limit to the inner intents. Have we ever taken into consideration how these inner intents work? What will be the outcome of these inner intents? To learn more about inner intents, let us travel back 2,500 years to when Lord Mahavira was living. At that time, Prasan Chandra, a king having characteristics of a sage, was listening to the Lord's compassion-filled Deshna, perfect divine speech. Upon hearing about the worldly life, his mind becomes dispassionate towards it. He renounces a life of luxury, turns over the control of his kingdom to his son, and assumes a life of asceticism. He becomes fully engrossed in spiritual practices of attaining his soul. One day, Lord Mahavira arrives in the beautiful garden of the city of Rajgruhi. The reigning king Shrenik is overjoyed upon hearing the news of the Lord's arrival, and prepares his family and his army to meet the Lord. On the way, he sees King Prasan Chandra meditating in a pose of penance under a tree. He was standing on one leg with raised arms facing the heat of the burning sun. In the scorching heat, his body was sweating profusely, but despite this, the ascetic's face was radiantly peaceful and gentle. When King Shrenik arrives in the Lord's gathering of Samovasaran, he bows in front of the Lord and says,
Lord, I sincerely bow down to you. Please accept my homage.
Dear King, may your soul attain salvation.
Dear Lord, I have a question. Today I saw an ascetic in meditation. His serenity, peacefulness, and beauty were inspiring. It appears that he has made tremendous progress in his spiritual meditation. However, if he were to die this very minute, which life form will his soul acquire?
It would go into the seventh hell.
King Shrenik thought maybe he did not hear the Lord very well. He did not trust his ears, and after a short while, he asked the Lord again,
Lord, what if he were to die right now?
He would go to the 12th celestial world.
King Shrenik could not contain his amazement, and after a short while asked the Lord again,
Lord, now which life form would he go to?
He would go directly to moksha.
Lord, please forgive my impudence in asking you the same question over and over again and troubling you. But I do not understand the mystery behind how an ascetic bound for the seventh hell can attain moksha in no time at all. How can this be possible? During all the 3 times, the ascetic is maintaining the same meditative pose. So how can his future life change all the 3 times? Who besides an omniscient like yourself can explain this?
O King, when you were coming to me, 2 of your soldiers, having seen the ascetic, started to talk.
Did you know that this ascetic is King Prasan Chandra? He has come to dwell in the forest after turning over his kingdom to his son. But when the neighboring king learned about this, he decided to invade his son's kingdom, and he is sure to succeed.
What are you saying? Upon hearing the soldiers, the ascetic Prasan Chandra, although engaged in meditation, started to have tremendous inner restlessness and turmoil. He became angry with his enemy, and even though he was standing right there, he started to fight an imaginary battle in his mind. His mind moved away from a state of non-attachment towards attachment and aversion. This very adverse meditation had a potential of creating a cause for a life in hell. To even think about hurting someone in the slightest degree is adverse meditation. Now, in his imaginary battle, having used up all his weapons against the offending king, the ascetic reaches for the crown on his head to hurl it as a weapon. As his hands touch his shaved head, he is brought down to reality that he is not a king anymore, but an ascetic. His thoughts changed on the spot. His mind turned from a battlefield to a field of righteousness. He became very remorseful. His inner intent turned towards purity, and his meditation became virtuous. This virtuous meditation had the potential of taking him to a celestial life. O King, when the ascetic moved towards a state of complete purity, a state free from all inner enemies, and a state of non-doership, he reached the illumination of absolute knowledge and absolute vision. At that point, his inner state had the potential of taking him all the way to moksha. When a living being comes into his real state as a non-doer, when he comes into the realization of, I am not this body, not this mind, and not this speech, but I am an eternal soul. When he gains experience of this knowledge, then his inner meditative state is that of Shukla Dhyan, perfect meditation, the fruit of which is moksha, the ultimate liberation.
Having acquired this knowledge from the Lord, King Shrenik immediately started to think about the peculiarity of the mind. How is an ordinary person to understand that there is no telling when the state of the mind will change, causing bondage for any of the four life forms? See, friends, how profound the science of the intents that arise in the mind is. Despite having the same external actions, sage Prasan Chandra was binding different karmas due to different arising inner intents. In the same manner, we can erase all bondage that we create when we get angry by repenting our actions. If you happen to get angry and you claim that it was necessary for you to get angry, you make that cause even stronger. The only control man has is over his inner intent. The results of his inner intent then fall in the hands of nature. That is why all actions of the mind, speech, and body are dependent upon the cause of previous karma. But your real self is completely independent in all that. You are separate through your inner intent. That is why the Lord has said that the true effort is when you change your inner intent. If you had created good intent, the fruits will be sweet. And if you had bad intent, the fruits will be bitter. And the one who becomes free from all inner intent can attain the status of the Supreme Soul. The result of evil intent is a life in hell. The result of inauspicious intent is a life in the animal kingdom. The result of a mixture of good and bad intent is a life in the human form. Auspicious intent will lead to a life in the celestial world. The result of absolute pure intent is liberation. If you want liberation, then get rid of your negative intentions and intentions to hurt others. The intent must be that you do not want to hurt anyone. You must not hurt even the foundation of any religion. This world is such that every kind of intent can arise within. So how can you afford to be in a state of stupor when your intents are concerned? By understanding the science of intents, you can break the bondage of countless lives to come. So for one who seeks liberation, it is imperative to understand the spiritual science of intent, the principle of which says that karma bondage is through inner intent and not outward actions. Therefore, your next life form and the cycle of birth and death are in your hands.